Hi everyone, welcome back to Land Navigation, Lesson 3, and we're going to continue to talk about symbols. Contour lines are used to indicate the height and shape of terrain features. They are actually imaginary lines found only on the topo map and not actually out in the ground or on the ground, but on the map they represent areas that are all at the same elevation. So if we look at this index contour line on the left upper corner here, we can see as it moves around any point along this line represents the same elevation height. So this is a contour line here. These are all contour lines. These are all contour lines. The contour interval is the elevation between each contour line. And typically on a topo map, it's found along the bottom edge in the center. So here's the bottom part of a topo map going around here at the bottom. This is the center part, and we can see that up here is the contour interval. It's on this particular map, it's right below the scale, and the contour interval is 10 feet. So that means that there is a change in elevation of 10 feet between each contour line. There are two types of contour lines. The first one, the index contour line, is a bolder, wider brown line. Intermediate contour lines are thinner and so appear lighter brown on the map. The index contour line, the bold one, will have the elevation for all points along on that line marked on it at some point on the topo map. Okay, so here is a section of a topo map. You can see all the contour lines on it. This is a hilltop here, so this represents a very high elevation, and down here is a lower elevation on the lower left side. Actually, all the way around the outside of the map is a lower elevation. So the index contour lines are marked on here for you. They're dark brown ones. Here's is an example of where in this particular frame we can see that this index contour line is 2,200 feet. Contour intervals are always given in feet. So here's another index contour line. Here's another one, and finally this one we just happen to be able to see in the image, and so all points along this index contour line are at an elevation of 3,000 feet. So why is this important? Well, suppose that the contour interval is not written for you at the bottom of the map. It does not necessarily have to be. We need to determine what the elevation is between, say, this line and this line. Well, we know that if this line's at 2,200 feet, and up here we have an elevation of 3,000 feet, that means the difference between these two lines is 800 feet. That would be 2,200 minus or subtracted from 3,000 is 800 feet. So the distance between this elevation and this elevation is 800 feet. 2,200 subtracted from 3,000. So if there's 800 feet change in elevation here, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 index contour lines. If we take 800 and divide that by 4, then we know the distance between each index contour line is 200 feet. So between this index line and this index line, there is a change in elevation of 200 feet. So if this is 2,200 feet, that means this is 2,400 feet. At this elevation on this index line, it would be 2,600 feet, 2,800 feet, and then 3,000 feet. So we still need to find out what's the contour interval between these two lines, or between this index line and this index line. Actually, these are just intermediate lines. So next, we need to take 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 lines, elevation lines, and we know the change in distance here is 200 feet. So if we take 200 feet and divide that by 5, we get 40 feet. So that means that the contour interval for this map is 40 feet. So between 2,000 and 200, this intermediate line would be 2,240 feet. That is the interval elevation change. And again, if we go from this intermediate line to the next one up, there is a change in 40 feet. So the elevation for the contour interval on this map is 40 feet. What is the actual elevation of this line at the tip of the arrow? So I've already told you that this is 2,200. This would be 2,400. And then the next intermediate line would be 2,440. The next elevation at the red arrow would be 2,480 feet, at all points along this intermediate line. So there's one more major idea I want to cover here that's represented on this slide, and that is when you see lines that are contour lines that are very close together like that, like this means this is a very steep area. The change in elevation occurs very rapidly here. If we go up here, then we can see that these contour lines are much farther apart. That means there is a gradual change or a gradual slope downward at this point in at this elevation. However, then when we come to a really steep part, and then there's water. So lines close together represent an area that is very steep. Contour lines that are farther apart represent an area with a gradual change in slope. Okay, for the next lesson, we'll be talking more about symbols. See you then.